Welcome back. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Today we are going to talk about a couple of things. I'm on my way to court. You hate it when you have to fire a client, but it happens occasionally. There are many reasons why an attorney would fire a client, and we're not going to get into those reasons. Not right now. But one of the things that I want to address is when you are seeking out an attorney, you need to pick the right attorney for you. There are a lot of excellent attorneys, and attorneys have different styles. There's an attorney here in town. His response to any client question is, I'm the attorney, you don't worry about it, you do what I tell you to do, when I tell you to do it, and we'll get you through this. That is an older style, and it's not as client focused as I would like, but you know, that person is a very competent attorney. They're very good. I like that person personally. But it's not a very communicative, and the client doesn't have a good feel for their case. There are decisions in the process that are clients and the clients alone. And a mentor who has since, or who is on the bench now, once said that if you ever have a question about whether a decision is yours or a client's, it's the client's. You know, there's some decisions that are going to be the attorneys, there's some decisions that are always going to be the client's. But that communication between attorney and client has to be solid. Okay? I've had cases where my client would not disclose something to me, possibly because we got along well and they didn't want the embarrassment of sharing it. The problem is that this stuff always comes out at trial. As an attorney, I can't be surprised. That's it. So while they were comfortable, they were too comfortable in one sense and not comfortable enough in another. Okay? And we didn't get the information until the other attorney brought it out. And oh boy, it changed the entire case. Then there are the clients that think you are their personal counselor. I gotta tell you, most counselors charge less money than I do. I'm not competent, I'm not qualified, and I don't want to be your marriage counselor or your shrink. That said, you're my client, man. You want to pay me, we'll talk. We'll talk about your case. The end of the day is that when you're selecting an attorney, it has to be someone with whom you get along with, that you're comfortable with, whose communication level is on par with yours. But you also have to watch out for the warning signs. If the attorney's promising you a result, that's a problem. Okay? If the attorney is assuring you that they can do something for you that no other attorney can do, that's probably not right. If the attorney is saying, look, I work like a dog and there are better attorneys, but there isn't one that's going to outwork me, that might be an accurate statement. And that's the kind of thing that, maybe you pay attention to that. But selecting an attorney is an important decision. When you are picking an attorney, and let's start with criminal defense, because I came up doing criminal defense. Okay? If you're picking an attorney for criminal defense, you are making a decision that your liberty rests on. Okay? Because if anything happens, the court's response is going to be, you have an attorney. You have an attorney. Your attorney. Your attorney. So, you want to make sure that you pick an attorney that you can communicate with. The flip side of that is nothing pisses an attorney off more than getting called 3 times a day, every day by a client. We have more than one client. If you want exclusivity, we can make that arrangement, but that's going to cost you. Okay? As a general rule of thumb, I tell my staff that I do everything by appointment unless it's an emergency. So you're a client of mine and you want to talk to me about your case, we need to have an appointment. The reason we have to have an appointment is so that I have the time to review your case and be ready to answer any questions you have. If you call me out of the blue and I'm working on somebody else, and all of a sudden I'm talking to you about your case, I'm not thinking about your case. I'm still thinking about their case. That's why I do appointments. I don't like management by distraction. I like to schedule my day out. I can fill my day, I can be more effective, and I can be more effective when I'm working on somebody else's case. So, it's very important. Please respect your attorney if that's the way they work. It's also better for you. Make a list of everything you want to talk about. Get in, discuss it, get out. You save time. Time is money. You save money. For clients, if your attorney doesn't introduce you to the staff or the person you're considering for an attorney, that's a problem. Who are you going to work most with at the attorney's office? Is it going to be the attorney or is it going to be their paralegal? Realistically, it's going to be their paralegal. It will be the attorney's assistant. Why? Because the assistant does most of the work. Okay, we can play games all day long. Yes, I went to law school. I'm responsible for it. But the paralegal, the assistants, do most of the work. And there may be an attorney that will say, that's ridiculous. I don't even have a paralegal. Well, at a firm where you're doing the dollars in the door and business volume to be successful and growing, you have staff. So in my firm, you meet your paralegal with the case. I work with several paralegals. Why? Because you need fewer cases for a paralegal to keep track of, because they're going to be working that case every freaking day. They're the ones collecting all the records. I say, we need to get this, we need to get this, we need to get this, we need to get this. Then we organize the file, we get it ready for trial, we do our discovery. They're the ones that sit down and spend all afternoon with the defendant or the client that can't answer discovery questions. So you need to meet the paralegals. You need to be able to communicate with them as well. We have male and female staff in my office. Why? Because people will say different things to a different sex. Okay? They do not feel comfortable, some women do not feel comfortable talking about sex to a man. Some men don't feel comfortable discussing their sex life with a woman. That's just the reality of it. And we got to have that in some divorce cases and in some criminal cases. So you want to go on their rep, you want to meet with more than one attorney, you want to talk to the attorney, make sure that you're comfortable with them. Okay? You know, ask another attorney, ask an attorney from out of the area if he knows who to call in that area. If that attorney comes up with a name, it's probably going to be one of the leading attorneys in the area. You know, in my area, there's 3-4 attorneys that I consider the top of the crop. I'm not going to name names, but we also tend to be the more expensive attorneys in town. And there's a reason for that. If your first question when you are consulting an attorney is money, you're going to get responses in one of two directions. Either the attorney is going to quote you an astronomical fee because they've already assessed that you're likely going to be a PETA client, or they want to run you off now and save them the time and trouble of meeting with you once or twice before you decide that you can't afford them. Or they're going to pitch you a low dollar amount. Why would they do a low dollar amount? Well, maybe they want that case. There might be potential for news coverage. There might be a potential for something else. They might just want that particular case because they want to build their repertoire in certain areas. For example, I might take a murder case for less money than I would take a drug case, solely because I haven't had a felony murder case yet. You know, that's one of the pinnacles of cases for defense work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. But it's also one of the boxes you check as a defense attorney. So you might be able to get a really, really good attorney for a little lower money based on that attorney's personal desires. You might not. So you got to meet with them and meet with more than one. You might meet with one attorney and think, wow, you know, I got on really well with that guy or that lady. That doesn't mean that your search is over. What it means is you have another data point for your decision. Realistically, people don't put enough time and attention into such a critical decision. Most often, that decision is predicated on money. Okay? I can't afford an attorney, so I'm going with public defender. First, that's not a bad choice. Okay? Public defenders are generally excellent. They're good attorneys. They see more cases in a year than some private attorneys will see in a career. So it is an excellent choice. I mean, look, public defenders are good attorneys. What public defenders are also known for is being horrendously overworked. Their time is strictly controlled. If you have an appointment at 2 o'clock with your public defender, you better be there at 2 o'clock. They have another appointment scheduled at 2:30. Okay? So, you know, if you're not going to be able to work with the PD, you need to know that. Also, the public defender's office has funds that you may not have. If you need to do depositions in your case, public defender's office has the funds for that. If you need to have an independent lab check evidence, public defender's office has funds for that. As a private client, you have to have the funds for that. Okay? So we could be going through your case. You found an attorney that pitched a $5,000 flat fee for your case. Well, what are you getting for that $5,000? Are you getting depositions? You know, are they hiring a court reporter out of that $5,000? You know, maybe, maybe not. Okay, what about expert witnesses? Good luck on that. Your expert witnesses are going to run you anywhere from $2,000 up. So the expert witnesses are probably not included in that either. Or they are, and your attorney simply isn't going to get them because that wipes out their income. What about pretrial litigation? Pretrial litigation is where a lot of cases are won and lost. Okay? You fight it pre-trial. Matter of fact, a professor of mine once said that pre-trial is where cases are won or lost. You know, an amateur waits for trial to raise points. A professional has fought this all out all the way up to trial. Generally, we know when we're going to the trial what the outcome of that trial is going to be. If your attorney doesn't know who the witnesses are, that's a problem. If your attorney doesn't know what they're going to testify to, that's a problem. If your attorney doesn't have a basic idea of the questions they're going to be asked on both sides, that's a problem. So this is all part of picking your attorney. I mean, you should be able to work that out. So this has gone on longer than I wanted to, but you need to make sure when you are picking an attorney for whatever the case is, you get recommendations from other people, you get recommendations from other attorneys. Go outside the area, because no attorney in the area is going to recommend their competitor. And then you go and you meet with more than one attorney. You find one that fits with you. You discuss the budget, you discuss the expenses, and understand legal fees are more expensive than you probably thought. A properly defending a felony case is likely going to run you into the 5 figures. There's just no way around that. Matter of fact, properly defending a first-time DWI should be in the 5 figures. If your attorney is going all out to win. That's doing all the suppression hearings. That's going and viewing the lab and reading the lab report. Getting the expert in for the lab report. Getting the expert for the lab practices. Getting the expert for field sobriety testing and the officer's performance. Okay? All of that takes time and money. If you're going to try and do it on the cheap, tell your attorney right off the bat, I just want a plea. It's going to save you a lot of money and everybody a lot of hassle. It means that if you came to me, I'd say go see someone else. While a plea might be the result of the case, I'm not just going to plead you without reviewing the evidence. So that's what you need to do. Hit like, subscribe. We will be posting another video possibly later today on a medical marijuana issue. I want to do a little bit of research on it in between cases today and make sure that I'm right before I shoot the video and get told I'm wrong 83 ways from Sunday. All right. Thank you. Like, subscribe. I'll be talking to you later.